old beefs, how the globalists are manipulating that using sociology, anthropology, psychology, archetypal, Jungian psychology, full spectrum dominance, the eugenics-based global plan, the technocracy, the breakaway civilization system that's already been developed, how far advanced that breakaway civilization is. It may be more than we know. In fact, it probably is more than we even know, 30 years advanced. These are epic, giant issues. So I'm almost as manly as some guy that can spout off all the football statistics and that'll bug his eyes out at you when you're walking through the store and wants you to get out of his way because he's bigger than you are. See, I'm not trying to act tough and manly. I'm trying to be a man and build a future for my family. I'm trying to navigate all the primitive manipulation and garbage to not be a primitive, to advance to the next level and try to save civilization. I'm not afraid of the big muscle-bound guy. I'm afraid I'll bash his brains out all over the ground. And I don't want to do that. I want him to grow up and be a man and try to save the republic. That's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is not being fake macho idiots, but actually learning the facts, being men, learning how the world really works and saying no to it, learning how they game the economy. By the way, even if you're a cynical mercenary, do you know how much money you can make with the knowledge of how the stock market really works and with the knowledge of how markets really work? I mean, I generally, and people know this is true, can predict markets, you name it, months or years in advance, knowing how the globalists operate. Can you imagine if I just wanted to spend my time making money off those ideas? And I'm not bragging. I'm a regular guy who clicked archetypally to actually becoming informed about geopolitics and history, all because I read history books as a child and learned how the world really worked and found out how exciting and dynamic it was and decided that I didn't want to be a passive nobody who didn't exist and who was just a spectator who was programmed for my entire life. I want to live. I want to control my destiny. I want to be honorable. I want to return chivalry. I want to return exploration and trailblazing and invention. I want space colonies. I want honorable transparency in government. I want to go to the next level. And I know you do as well. You will not go to the next level knowing about the football scores. You will go to the next level learning about the history of Ukraine, learning about the history of the South, learning about the history of New York, learning about quantum mechanics, learning about what makes the globalists tick. Because when you study the globalists, you find out these people are the most wicked, cold, unhuman people you can imagine who have decided to use all this knowledge that can be used to empower humanity to annihilate humanity. Brian in Arizona. Then we'll go to Squirrel, Dr. Davis, Adam, Wendell, and others. Brian, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, thanks for getting me on. Alex, I was a Naval Academy graduate, former naval aviator. I've been nuclear qualified. I was also an airline pilot and one of our armed pilots. I've listened to you over the years with a little bit of cautious skepticism, but I have verified many of the points you're making today and throughout your last shows. It is coming true. The FEMA camps are for real. And the government, many of my classmates are still in the military, and the government is they look at the public like three categories. You got your hiders, your fighters, and your runners. And if you know which class the people fit in, they know how to deal with you. You've talked about the arming the local police, okay? So they're ready to fight us, okay? And they're outlawing, victory gardens and everything else. So the people that are hiding, they're trying to take care of those people too. It's becoming...
Stay there. This is a really interesting call. Don't hang up, Brian. Thank you for calling in. I want to hear more from you. And yeah, they do profile people. And then we've got Squirrel, Dr. Davis, Adam, and Wendell. Stay there, Brian. I'm going to come right back to you on the other side. And what he's saying is so true. And again, just because you're in a uniform, just because you know all this, doesn't put you in the winning team. It puts you in the traitor team. And they're going to sell collapse scenarios so you think you're doing a good job when really you're playing to their fiddle.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
A 30-day GMO-free emergency food supply for only $99 at 30dayfoodsupply.com. You can purchase Oregon Trail Foods' 1-month supply of high-quality, nutritious, and healthy emergency meals. For less than $100, these vegetarian meals are naturally high in fiber, carbs, and protein, and they're packed with oxygen absorbers in Mylar pouches. They're completely free of any artificial flavors and colorings, have a 20-year shelf life, and take up to 70% less space than number 10 cans. They even offer a gluten-free option. Oregon Trail Foods and 30dayfoodsupply.com keep prices low by buying directly from the producers in Oregon and then passing the savings to you. Purchase a 30-day, 90-serving emergency food supply for only $99 this month, and $10 ships your entire order. Visit the website at 30dayfoodsupply.com or call 541-229-0010. That's 30dayfoodsupply.com, where they make preparedness affordable. 30dayfoodsupply.com.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're talking about the geopolitical global destabilization by the mega banks. That's who's behind it all. They've disarmed people worldwide. They're breaking up families worldwide. They want the dumbed down poor populations. They've got big robot factories producing the robots to replace most of the Chinese workforce, the U.S. workforce, the French workforce. And you could say, well, humanity's ugly, there's too many of us, and go along with that argument. The point is you're being targeted too. And they've decided to destabilize the country and bring in the National Stabilization Force. So we're talking to Brian in Arizona about the runners, the hiders, and the fighters. and he was saying, I guess he's talking to his folks that are still in the military, officers, and they're talking about all this that's going on. You were talking about the fighters. They've got militarized police locally. They've got the hiders. Please continue.
Yeah, the hiders, they're doing silly things like it's illegal to plant a garden over a certain size in your backyard. Those people that are going to hunker down, Arizona, we have the, a lot of people, are gun owners here. So it's not going to be the first state to fall, for sure. But everything you say is coming true. Watching this false flag race war they're putting on is ridiculous. I've watched a lot of the YouTube stuff. I asked a buddy of mine, former classmate, very high-level staff. Off the air, I'd be glad to tell you exactly who it is and what my source is. But this guy, I asked him, I said, these FEMA camps for real? And he asked me a question. He says, we have 100 million people on some form of subsistence, welfare, food stamps. He says, when the government checks stop, he says, what do you think these cities are going to look like? He says, what are you going to do with the people? That's what the camps are made for. They're going to put all these people, these people in the inner cities, they don't stock water, food. We say beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. That's what you got to stock. You got to have a bug-out plan, and you got to be ready.
To expand on that, you can look at the 100 million people on welfare and how destabilized things are and say, oh, see, this is reasonable. But it was all maneuvered for decades towards this point. And during the chaos, the system is training to take on Americans that will fight communism and socialism as the new political system to come out of the collapse. They plan to target us, shut us up as the counter-revolutionaries in their own words. This is from Bill Ayers, all of them. This is the doctrine of the Attorney General, to then bring us out with wealth redistribution and socialism on the other side. And so it is just a nightmare scenario. And I hope that your high-level source, I hope you can talk to them again and ask them, are they aware of that? And surely they know that almost all the training is to target what you just said, the hiders, the people that are self-sufficient. Look at all the movies, how they demonize anybody who wants to be self-sufficient and who is in any way a fan of freedom. What's your take on that?
Well, they've trained all of our sons to go over there in Iraq and Syria and other places, and they've done knock and talks with, and seized weapons and interrogated people. And these young Marines and Army guys are good at it. And Homeland Security made a mistake. Okay, when they announced that one of the enemies is returning veterans, and then right after that, there's a kill list for these guys. They're poisoning these guys. They're putting them on 10 different medications. These guys they've served their country. They just want to come back and get an education. And the next thing you know, they're so whacked out on a dozen different drugs. And that's their plan. They want to poison these guys. They want to kill them because they're a threat. Because these guys are going to be what we're going to need. The Patriots are going to need these guys that are highly trained and that can mobilize your neighborhood groups.
Well, Joe Biggs was in, heavy combat army units in Afghanistan. They would order them to take opiates, painkillers, for no reason, and said, oh, you're under stress, just to get them addicted so they could then declare them with some type of mental issue at the end of it. And so you can see how much they hate humans, how much the globalists hate soldiers and warriors, just like they won't be around any of the troops when they're armed, because they want robots, and that's the next phase. So while they've still got to use humans, they are setting you up with the vaccines, the drugs, all of it when you get out. Really good points. Brian, if you want to off-air talk to John Harmon, he's on the phone system, and give us any names or info. It'll all be off record, or give us anything else. If you can give us your number if you'd like. We'll be back with more calls.
We're on the march.